Hello and a warm welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global TV News Cycle, live in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. I am Queen Agaba. President Bola Tinubu has performed the Lesser Hajj Umrah in Mecca, Saudi Arabia, during which he prayed for God's divine guidance in leading Nigeria. The president embarked on the Islamic rite at the end of his official duties in Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, where he participated in the Saudi African Summit on Friday. Bola Tinubu, President, Federal Republic of Nigeria. President Bola Tinubu has pledged to continue to support traditional rulers towards promoting peace and security across the country, while endorsing the constitutional role for traditional rulers. Tinubu emphasized that the National Assembly should take the lead in implementing the initiative. The president stated this at the weekend in Ondo Town headquarters of Ondo West Council during the 70th birthday celebration of Ondo Kingdom held at the Diocese of Ondo Cathedral Church of St. Stephen. The president, who was represented by the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, said the last 17 years of Oba Koladejo's reign have been impactful and peaceful. Commending the traditional ruler for the giant strides recorded in terms of infrastructural and human capital development, Tinubu urged everyone to keep supporting the monarch in ensuring that there was peace and security while the kingdom continued to develop. National Assembly has expressed readiness to launch an application known as NAS Eyes to monitor budget transparency and implementation by ministries, departments and agencies, MDAs of government. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Okezie Kalu, made this known in Abuja, saying the initiative will also include adherence to the principle of federal character by affected MDAs. Kalu, who dropped the hint during a courtesy call over the weekend, said that the mechanism is driven by conscious efforts of the parliament to effectively check the performance of budgetary allocations to agencies of government. Meanwhile, the chairman, Senate Committee on Finance, Sani Musa, has said genuine and deliberate collaboration between the legislature and executive arms of government could produce a robust fiscal policy that would effectively address Nigeria's economic challenges and boost revenue generation. Musa explained this in a statement yesterday, amid preparations by a joint committee of the Senate, chaired by him, to engage heads of federal MDAs in interactive public hearings this week on the 2024 to 2026 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy Paper, MTEF to FSP. Chairman of the Fiscal Responsibility Commission, FRC, Victor Murako, has commended President Bola Tinubu's dedication to the enhancement of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. The statement released by Bede Anyanwu, head of Strategic Communications Directorate, highlighted the collaborative efforts towards fortifying Nigeria's fiscal landscape under President Tinubu's leadership. Speaking during an interactive session of the Senate Committee on Finance at the National Assembly, Murako said the Fiscal Responsibility Commission is a product of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, aiming to establish a transparent and accountable financial framework for Nigeria. He emphasized the FRC's core mandate, ensuring prudent, transparent, and timely revenue-raising policies, resource allocation decisions, and debt management strategies. Despite the delay by President Bola Tinubu to present the 2024 Appropriation Bill to the National Assembly, the federal lawmakers have promised to treat the document with urgency and ensure it beats the December 31st deadline. The Senate specifically assured Nigerians that the budget cycle, as amended by the 9th Assembly to run from January to December, would not fail. The 9th Assembly had in 2019 amended the 2020 appropriation bill from May to June cycle to January to December as the budget cycle. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has scheduled elections in some parts of Kogi State for Saturday, November 18, 2023. INEC made this announcement on Sunday in a statement signed by spokesperson Mohammed Kudu Haruna. Further to our statement yesterday, we have received an update from our Kogi State office regarding the suspension of election in some locations in the state where results to fresh elections will be held on Saturday, 18th November 2023 in the affected polling units, INEC said. It further said that the decision to hold fresh elections is subject to the returning officer's determination of the application of the margin of lead principle. However, this decision is without prejudice to INEC's avowed commitment to follow the audit trail of personnel and materials to ascertain those who may have been complicit in undermining the process and apply appropriate sanctions where necessary. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has again adjourned their collation of governorship election results from the local government areas in Bayelsa State to 6 p.m. today. The state returning officer, Professor Kuta Farouk, announced this adjournment after the collation of results from Sagbama, Nembe, and Ekeremo local government areas. The two remaining local governments are Braz and Southern Ijaw. Yaga Africa reiterates her earlier call that election administration requires fundamental reforms to inspire public confidence and enhance the legitimacy of election processes and outcomes. Yaga gave the charge during the final press conference to journalists on the results of the off-cycle elections in Imo, Kogi, and Bayelsa in Abuja. Global TV correspondent Subra Usman was there to tell us more. Okay, chairman and members of Osun State statutory commissions were on Monday sworn in by the state deputy governor, Kola Adewusi. The inauguration followed the successful screening and confirmation of the nominees by the State House of Assembly. The commissions whose chairman and members took oath of office include the Osun State Independent Electoral Commission, Osun State Judicial Service Commission, Osun State Civil Service Commission, and Osun State House of Assembly Service Commission. Earlier, a statement by the press secretary to the Speaker, Osun State House of Assembly, Tiamiu Olamide, said having concluded the processes of screening and confirmation of nominees, the House had forwarded its recommendations to the Governor, Ademola Adeleke. And the West African Examination Council on Monday announced that it had ditched the paper and pencil test model and has adopted the computer-based test mode for the conduct of the Senior Secondary School Certificate Examination. This is contained in a statement signed by the Acting Head of Public Affairs Unit of the West African Exam Council, Moyosola Adeshino. According to the statement, the innovation would kick off with the conduct of the West African Senior School Certificate Examinations for private candidates in February 2024. You're watching Global TV News Cycle, coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. We're on Star Times, channel 276. Kindly follow us across social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles now showing on your screen. When the news returns, fuel subsidy, forex liberalization cycle may drive inflation to 30% by December. The news continues shortly with details of these and other stories right after this break. Please don't go anywhere. This is Global Television bringing you live broadcast of the news cycle from Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Experiencing the latest negotiations towards a global treaty to combat plastic pollution opened in Nairobi on Monday, with tensions expected as nations tussle over what should be included in the pact. Some 175 countries agreed last year to conclude by 2024 a UN treaty to combat the plastic blight in oceans, floating the atmosphere and infiltrating the bodies of animals and humans. Negotiators have met twice already, but the November 13th to 19th talks are the first to consider a draft text of the treaty published in September and the policy options it contains. The draft, presenting the various ways forward, will form the basis for the high-stakes deliberations at the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, headquarters in Nairobi, with more than 2,000 delegates registered and advocates from environment and plastic groups also in the room. The negotiations are expected to get heated as the details are hammered out. British leader Rishi Sunak on Monday sacked controversial Interior Minister Suella Braverman as he reshuffles his top team ahead of general election expected next year. Sunak had come under growing pressure to axe Braverman, an outspoken right-winger, after critics accused her of heightening tensions during weeks of conscious pro-Palestinian demonstrations and counter-protests in Britain. It was not immediately clear who replaced Braverman, who was appointed to post when Sunak became Prime Minister just over a year ago. Major ports handling 40% of Australia's operator DP World said Monday, 3 days after they were crippled by a cyber attack. DP World cut its system from the internet when the attack was detected Friday, preventing trucks from uploading or picking up cargo at ports in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and Fremantle. DP World Australia is pleased to announce that the operations resumed at the company's ports across Australia, the operator said in a statement. The firm said it had successfully tested key systems overnight before reopening. It is said it expected to move 5,000 containers out of the 4 terminals during the day, not far from the industry estimates of their usual daily traffic. Australia's National Cybersecurity Coordinator Darren Goldie said DP World did the right thing by cutting off its internet access to prevent attack from spreading. The Australian government called emergency meetings with the company and industry representatives over the weekend to manage its response. U.S. Senator Tim Scott announced on Sunday that he is withdrawing from the U.S. presidential race, saying voters had given him a clear message of not now. The South Carolina lawmaker, who was running to become the first black Republican president, had been struggling to rise above the pack in the party's crowded field. Polling in 6th place among Republican primary candidates, the 58-year-old had only 2.5% of the vote, according to the Real Clear Politics average of recent major opinion polls. Scott officially announced he was running for the Republican nomination in May after spending months visiting the state considered crucial to gaining early momentum in the contest. During his campaign, he frequently underlined his Christian faith and the conservative values he learned growing up in a poor single-parent household. Now, time to talk for some Business Now, ahead of tomorrow's Tuesday's release of October 2023 inflation figures by the National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, Multinational Professional Services Network, KPMG, has said that headline inflation in Nigeria will reach 30% by December 2023. Nigeria's current inflation rate for the month of September is 26.72%. KPMG, in its macroeconomic review H1 2023 and outlook for H2 2023 released at the weekend, anticipated that the current inflationary pressure in the economy will persist into H2 2023, stressing that headline and food inflations are unlikely to ease soon as the depreciation of the naira continues to reinforce the inflationary impact of fuel subsidy removal via higher input prices and production costs caused by imported inflation. The report noted that recent reforms in the petroleum industry, like the fuel subsidy removal and unification of the foreign exchange market, will be responsible for the projected spike in the prices of goods and services. The Director General National Pension Commission, Aisha Dahi Umar, has urged informal sector workers to embrace the micro-pension plan. Dahir Umar, who was represented by the head Southwest Zonal Office, PENCOM, Shola Adesheun, spoke during the Commission's special day at the Lagos International Trade Fair organized by the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry in Lagos on Friday. According to her, the micro-pension plan was being embraced in Lagos, and the zonal office was intensifying efforts at creating more awareness of the plan within the Southwest geopolitical zone. The Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, has adjusted the foreign exchange rate for its tariffs and duties. The new rates were reflected on the single-window trade portal of the federal government. Rates vary from different items, typically from 5% to 35%, and are assessed with reference to the prevailing Harmonized Commodity and Coding System (HAS) code. Last month, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, announced the lifting of the ban on 43 items previously restricted from assessing forex. Consequently, the amount used to clear goods, including the 47 items at Nigerian ports, has increased. The Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, has said that it would use the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Crocodiles of Lesotho and Zimbabwe's national team to prepare the Super Eagles for the 2024 African Cup of Nations, billed to hold next year in Côte d'Ivoire. The Super Eagles camp for the World Cup qualifiers opened yesterday in Uyo, with majority of the players expected to arrive in the city today ahead of the first game in the series against Crocodiles of Lesotho on Thursday. According to a program released by the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, Super Eagles' full training will begin this evening at the Godswill Akpabio Stadium, which will also host the match. For more updates on sports, let's now join Sharon Ajay. We'll join her shortly. That's all we have for you on Global TV News Cycle. We're on Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms using @GlobalTVNG and other handles that are showing on your screen. I am Queen Agaba. Thank you so very much for watching. Have a pleasant day.